Number 1 pop song from the year you graduated high school. Old people complaining about the music these days is a trope for a reason. It's been happening for as long as music has been on the radio. The fact is, the music we fall in love with as teenagers stays with us for the rest of our lives. A New York Times analysis of Spotify data found that the most influential age for one's musical taste is 13 for women and 14 for men. At that formative moment, music just means more. Each of those songs becomes linked with events that feel monumental: first dance, first kiss, first beer, first love. Just as fascinating are the songs that don't affect listeners who weren't just the right age when they hit the radio waves. According to the study, if you were an 11-year-old girl when The Cure's "Just Like Heaven" was released, you stream it all the time. But if you were older than 20 or younger than 5 at the time, it's just meh. Pop music is about a time, a place, and what a song or a band can mean to a generation of listeners. Because of that, it can be anything from an orchestral movie theme to a remix of a Spanish-language hit to a folk harmony to a Dolly Parton cover. What makes it pop is that it speaks to young people of the day. And because those are the songs that stay with us, pop music becomes a shared language for a generation. So, what's your pop music dictionary? What are the songs that are part of your teenage cohort's shared language and experience? Stacker pulled data from Billboard's year-end charts, which ranks number 1 singles, albums, and more of the calendar year, to compile a list of the number 1 pop song for each year from 1946 to 2021. Whether you love pop music or hate it, these are the hits that dominated the car radios, the winter balls, the proms, and the house parties every year since 1946. These are the number 1 pop songs from the year you graduated high school. 1967, To Sir, With Love, by Lulu. The singer Lulu made her feature film debut in 1967's To Sir, With Love, in which Sidney Poitier plays a teacher who eventually wins over his class of misbehaving British students. Her character was meant to sing a song to Poitier near the end of the film, but she was unimpressed by the original options. Lulu talked her friend, composer Mark London, into writing the music, and songwriter Don Black penned the words. The song was released as the B-side of a Lulu single by RCA Records, but quickly became the preferred Lulu song of radio DJs. It hit number 1 in October of 1967 and stayed there for 5 weeks. 1968, Hey Jude, by the Beatles. Written by Paul McCartney, Hey Jude has become arguably the most popular Beatles song of them all. As of late last year, it was number 1 on Apple Music. When it hit American airwaves, it spent a record 9 weeks on the top of the charts. Just a few months after its release, R&B legend Wilson Pickett recorded a legendary cover. A young Duane Allman of the not-yet-formed Allman Brothers Band played guitar on the track. 1969, Sugar, by the Archies. Legend has it that producer Don Kirshner first offered the song Sugar, Sugar to the Monkees, but was met with angry protests by the band. Instead, the song was performed by studio musicians and released as an Archies song performed by cartoon characters on the popular TV show. The song was a mega-hit, spending 4 weeks atop the charts from September to October of 1969. 1970, Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Bridge Over Troubled Water is the title track on Simon and Garfunkel's final studio album, and though it was recorded at a tense time for the folk duo, you'd never know it listening to their legendary harmonies. The song spent an incredible 85 weeks on the Billboard charts, with 10 weeks in the number 1 spot. It won Song of the Year at the 1971 Grammy Awards. 1971, Joy to the World, by Three Dog Night. Written by Hoyt Axton, Joy to the World was recorded by Three Dog Night and released as a single in early 1971. The band had hit number 1 on the charts the year before with Mama Told Me Not to Come, but the success of Joy to the World eclipsed anything they did before or after. The song became synonymous with 1983 film The Big Chill. Hoyt Axton was the son of Mae Axton, who co-wrote Heartbreak Hotel. 1972, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, by Roberta Flack. Originally written in 1957 by folk singer Ewan MacColl, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face was often covered and recorded before Roberta Flack released her 1969 album First Take. Incredibly, the song didn't hit the charts until 3 years later, after Clint Eastwood used it in his film Play Misty for Me. Flack hit number 1 in 1973 and 1974 with Killing Me Softly with his song and Feel Like Makin' Love, respectively. Round the Old Oak Tree by Tony Orlando and Dawn. written by songwriters Erwin Levine and L. Russell Brown. Tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree tells the story of a man anxiously searching for his wife at the agreed-upon spot on the day of his release from prison. The song, recorded by Tony Orlando and Dawn, was such a hit, spending 4 weeks atop the charts, that the yellow ribbon signifying a missing person soon became a ubiquitous symbol across America. 1974, The Way We Were by Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand's The Way We Were was released as a single in 1973, right before her film of the same name hit theaters. The Way We Were topped the charts for 2 weeks in March 1974, right before winning Best Original Song at the 1974 Academy Awards that April. Rolling Stone reviewer John Landau, in a not especially kind review, credited the fluke success of the song with reviving Streisand's music career. 1975. Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille. Daryl Dragon was a classically trained pianist who preferred rock in roll and the blues. He backed up Fats Domino and the Beach Boys and earned his nickname Captain because of the hat he liked to wear on stage. He and wife Toni Tennille put out their biggest hit in 1975, Love Will Keep Us Together. The song hit the charts in June and stayed at number 1 for 4 weeks. 1976, Silly Love Songs by Wings. After Paul and Linda McCartney's band Wings was attacked by critics as a waste of Paul, the ex-Beatle responded by releasing Silly Love Songs on the 1976 Wings at the Speed of Sound. The album itself was a mixed bag, but the indignant, yet self-effacing single was a critical and commercial hit, topping the charts in May of 1976. McCartney became the first artist to hit number 1 as the frontman of 2 different bands. 1977, Tonight's the Night, Gonna Be Alright, by Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart, former singer of both the Jeff Beck Group and the Faces, put out A Night on the Town as a solo artist, and it was his first to go platinum. The biggest song on the album was Tonight's the Night, Gonna Be Alright, which hit number 1 in November 1976 and stayed there for 8 weeks, the longest run atop the charts since Hey Jude. His girlfriend at the time, Swedish actress Britt Ekland, does a little naughty whispering in French near the end of the recording. 1978, Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb. Andy Gibb was the heartthrob younger brother of the Bee Gees, Barry, Maurice, and Robin Gibb, and had 3 songs hit number 1 in less than a year. The last of the 3, Shadow Dancing, first topped the charts in June 1978 and held the top spot for 7 weeks. All 4 Gibb brothers wrote the song, and Barry Gibb-written songs completely dominated the airwaves that year. 1979, My Sharona by The Knack. The Knack's debut single, My Sharona, was released by Capitol Records in June and topped the Billboard charts by the end August, holding the vaunted position for 6 weeks. Lead singer Doug Fieger wrote the song about his ex, Sharona Alperin, who was 17 when she caught the eye of 25-year-old Fieger. He said the lyrics were written from the perspective of a 14-year-old boy. 1980, Call Me by Blondie. Written as the theme song for the great Paul Schrader's Taxi Driver 1980 film American Gigolo. Giorgio Moroder, who was doing the score for the film, initially approached Stevie Nicks with the bones of the song, but when she passed, he brought it to Debbie Harry and her new wave band Blondie. The song was the band's second number 1 hit, after 1979's Heart of Glass, and became its biggest hit. It was on the charts for 25 weeks and at number 1 for 6. 1981, Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes. The song Betty Davis Eyes was originally recorded by Jackie DeShannon for her 1975 album New Arrangement. But it was another new arrangement, by Kim Carnes for her 1981 cover of the song, that made Betty Davis Eyes a hit. Carnes' Betty Davis Eyes hit number 1 in May 1981 and spent 26 weeks on the chart with 9 weeks at the top. 1982, Physical by Olivia Newton-John. Written by Steve Kipner and Terry Shattuck, Olivia Newton-John's Physical was a sexy and surprising turn for the Grease star. The video, which features Newton-John in a men's locker room, was lampooned on the first-ever episode of Beavis and Butthead. The song spent an incredible 10 weeks at number 1 from the end of 1981 through 1982. 1983, Every Breath You Take by The Police. Written by Sting in the wake of the dissolution of his first marriage, the Police frontman explained, Every Breath You Take, as a nasty little song about a stalker wanting to reclaim his love. The song was rarely read as dark as by the band's frontman, instead becoming a breakaway hit, and spent 8 weeks at number 1. It was the band's only #1 hit. They broke up at the peak of their prowess in 1984. 1984, When Doves Cry by Prince. Prince's second album, the self-titled Prince, went platinum in 1979, but it was his 1984 Purple Rain, which coincided with his feature film debut, that helped create the Prince legend. When Doves Cry was the first single off the album, reaching #1 on the charts in July and spending 5 weeks in the top spot. 1985, Careless Whisper by Wham. Released by Wham, the name of George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley's English pop duo, Careless Whisper, was far from Michael's favorite song. Part of the reason for his disdain was that the song was written by Michael and Ridgeley when they were just 17 and came to define much of their career. Michael put out 8 #1 hits, but none bigger than Careless Whisper. Whatever his feelings, the public disagreed. The song hit #1 in 25 countries and made George Michael a global star. 1986, That's What Friends Are For by Dion and Friends. Originally written by Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer Sager, the song That's What Friends Are For took on new meaning when it was recorded by Dionne Warwick, Elton John, Gladys Knight, and Stevie Wonder. The song was released as a charity single to raise money for AIDS research and became a massive hit, reaching the top of the charts in January 1986 and eventually raising more than $3 million for the cause. It also won the Grammy for Song of the Year. 1987, Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. The song Walk Like an Egyptian was written by Liam Sternberg and brought as a demo to Tony Basil, who passed. It eventually was sent to the Bangles' producer, who thought it was a perfect fit for the band's second album. The album was a hit, with Manic Monday written by Prince under the pseudonym Christopher, reaching #2 on the charts. Walk Like an Egyptian grabbed the top spot in December 1986. Besides Monday and Egyptian, almost all the Bangles songs were written by the band. The group had another #1 hit in 1989. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video. See you in the next one.